Hey, what's going on, everybody? On YouTube, Steve here, Raiken Profit over at RaikenProfit.com, coming back to you with another live show. And I'm really pumped up for this show because I've got my good friend Tatiana on the video today. And Tatiana's got a really cool story. She started selling on Amazon a couple of years ago, and she scaled her business past 6 figures per year. And she's got a YouTube channel, which is Lux Biz, and she shares a lot of awesome content over there. And she's a great inspiration to a lot of people. And especially with her being a female, there's not enough female people coming and entrepreneurs coming onto the YouTube videos and sharing information. So I would love to get her perspective and just hear, her story. So welcome. How are you doing, Tatiana?
Thank you, Steve. I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for having me on your show. I'm actually a big fan of yours, and I have followed your videos in the past, learning how to do retail arbitrage. So thanks for adding so much value, and I'm excited to chat with you today.
Awesome. So you said you were following me quite a ways back. So kind of what's your story? I know we talked behind the scenes and you were doing some retail arbitrage and stuff, but how did you get started and then find your way into your current business model on Amazon? And just what's your story? Would love to hear.
Yeah, so I started building an Amazon business back in 2014. I was looking to find a way to create money online and start earning income online because that's what my boyfriend was doing, and he had the luxury of having that laptop lifestyle. He was able to travel when he wanted, and I was kind of held back, tied down with my school and my regular job. So I was looking to kind of create something similar, but do it in my own way. And so I tried a few different things with, there's so many different ways to make money online. And so I tried a few different things, but never really resonated with any of those things that I tried. And eventually I learned about selling on Amazon through FBA private labeling. And that's something that really interested me right off the bat, just because I liked the idea of having a physical product, a product that had my brand name on it, a product that I used, a product that I could really kind of grow and personalize. And so it was really exciting for me. And so I started with a very simple, basic product, didn't have a lot of money to invest, and learned how the process works. And from there, I did a second product, and then again, a third product, which is actually the product line that I continue to have today and have built my brand around. And so it's kind of crazy that it was about 4 years ago, but it was about 2 years ago that I actually started the third product, which is the waist trainer, which is now what my brand is. My brand is called Lux Curves. And so we sell a bunch of different types of waist trainers on Amazon, but also on our website.
Wow, that's really cool. So your main business model is private label on Amazon right now. That's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. And there's a lot of people I've been interviewing. And last night I actually had a couple of my good friends, Andy Slammons and Leron Hirschkorn, come on. And, they've done I think they did over $2 million each last year, private labeling. So it's crazy to hear your story. And then last night talking with them. But one of the common themes that I hear about is people giving up when they start this business model. And it's quite interesting because most people I talk to, when they launch a business, a private label business on Amazon, they usually fail or they don't really have a ton of success the first or second time. Were things really slow with you at first with that first product? Would you call that first product a failure, or was it more of a learning experience for you?
Yeah, it wasn't super successful, but it wasn't a failure either. Again, I learned how the business works. I learned all of these processes, which I never had any experience with before. I was a college student, but I didn't have any idea about business. I was studying political science, and I actually didn't even own a computer at the time. So I really didn't have the computer skills and all that stuff. So I had to learn a lot. And through that process of creating my first product, I learned how the Amazon FBA private labeling process works. And that way, my second product was a lot easier, a lot faster. And then my third product was launched much more successfully. And I do believe that when you launch a product, the pre-launch and the launch phase is so important to the success of that product, because Amazon does boost you when you get those sales right off the bat. You've got the reviews and all that. And yeah, a lot of people do give up because they I think oftentimes with this type of business, people think that it is really quick money. And that's not necessarily the case. The Amazon FBA business is a long-term business. You can't go in it expecting these short-term gains because it takes time to grow the business and it takes time to turn a profit. And if you really want to scale the business, oftentimes you're going to be reinvesting any profits that you do make. So for myself, for the first 2 years, I actually never pulled any profits. I never paid myself from the business. I just constantly reinvested the money that was profited. And then after 2 years, I actually started to pay myself. So it is definitely a long-term business model. And so I think for a lot of people, they don't really have the patience for that, or they get discouraged because they do have challenges and there are failures. But the thing is, when you commit to this business, you have to commit that no matter what challenges come about, because there will be challenges without a doubt, that you are going to push past them, because you know that if you continue, instead of dabbling in a bunch of different other things, you just continue with the one thing that you started, eventually that is going to grow. It's just like when you plant a seed, it takes time for it to sprout, and then it can grow into a really fruitful tree.
Wow, awesome. So many gold nuggets right there. And I love the motivation. I love the passion. I can see it right through the camera that you're really passionate about this business and you really love it. And I love to ask you, is this something that you are like, is it just your personality? Or do you really love this business? Is this something that like when you wake up in the morning, you're like excited to go work on, and like, you're just like, I can't wait to go crush it?
You know what? I am. And I feel really
That's
blessed
awesome.
to be able to say that, because I don't think I've ever been so passionate about my work. I never really enjoyed the jobs that I did have previous to this. And I really do feel like when I wake up, I'm excited to open my computer and start working on things, because what's cool is that not only am I working and I'm earning a paycheck, but I'm actually working to build something that's mine, that will be an asset for me, which I can sell in the future. So I feel like all my efforts, they're really paying off, not just with the short term, with the income I'm making on a monthly basis, but long term for that big payday when I do perhaps choose to sell my business and start another one, or whatever it may be. So, but it's also exciting just kind of being passionate about what product it is that I'm sourcing. You know, with private labeling, FBA, a lot of people, you know, you can go two routes. You can go the route where you just throw out a bunch of products that are hot sellers and not really build a brand around that. And that works perfectly fine. Many people are successful with that. Or you can go the route where you pick one category, you stick with that, you find your niche, and then you build a brand around that. And so any other subsequent products that you source are within that brand. And that's the path that I chose. And through that, I've been able to build a really large community of women, and everyone's supportive and encouraging. And I really feel excited to create products that actually add value to my clients and my customers, and getting their feedback and seeing their results too, because the products that I have, they are physical products that people wear and they see results from them. And through that, they feel more confident in their bodies. They feel, you know, sexier, more feminine. And I love seeing that. And so it's really fun for me. And I feel really grateful to have a business that I'm excited to work in.
That's amazing. That's really cool. And I would like to ask everybody who's watching live, and if you guys see me looking this way, I'm actually looking at the comments. We've got about 67 people watching live on a Friday afternoon, on a rainy Friday afternoon. I'm in Connecticut right now. I'd love to know, where are you all from? And also, if you guys are enjoying this show, I need you to put in the comments, Tatiana rocks. Okay. So I want to know what you guys think about this show. And if you have any questions, you know, definitely smash that like button, drop a comment in the comment bar. But let's keep moving. I'm curious, what do you love most besides being super passionate about private label? What do you love most in terms of the business model of private label on Amazon versus maybe thrifting or garage sales or online arbitrage or retail arbitrage?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when I did do retail arbitrage and I was learning from you through your videos on how to do that, it was actually at a time when I had, it was when I was in between my first and second product. And I was kind of like, the product was dying down. It wasn't as successful. I came back from a very long trip to Southeast Asia and I was broke. So I didn't have a lot of money to invest in the product, and I needed to make money fast. And so I discovered the retail arbitrage. And so I did that for a little while, and I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun going to the thrift store and getting great deals. But what I found was that for me personally, it wasn't really sustainable because it was always a hustle. I would always have to go to the store, hope that I find products, and then kind of do that on a regular basis. And I love to travel, so I'm pretty much every month in a different location or a different country. And so that doesn't necessarily work when you are traveling so much. So I just kind of realized, you know what, this private label business is really what I need to stick with and follow through with, because it works for my lifestyle. And I just love that there's so much potential. You really, your income can grow exponentially. And it's just, you know, the amount of effort that you're willing to put into your business, the amount of work that you're willing to put in, and the amount of smart and intelligent work, not just working harder, but working smarter, is in direct proportion to the amount of income that you earn. And to me, that was a totally new concept, because prior to this business, I was working at a regular job, and every year I would get a very small raise. You know, I think it was pennies on the dollar. Versus with this business, I could work really hard for 1 month and make more than I would ever make at that one job. And so I really realized, like, you know, I get excited to work and put in the hours every day, because I know that the more I do, the more, you know, I can add value to customers and have my products reach people all over the world. And so, yeah, it's just really interesting. And I just find that this business model is great also because it works for everybody, really. I mean, you don't need to have any special skills. You don't need to have, you know about business or marketing or have a degree. All of these things can be learned, which is what I had to do. I had to learn all of this stuff from scratch. And so it's a great opportunity for so many people, because when you live in this day and age and you have access to a computer and the internet, you have so many opportunities. So if you're watching this right now, you are in a really envious position to be able to be watching from your computer or your phone. You have so many opportunities online. You know, there are so many different businesses. Even if you don't want to build your own business, you can work for a company that has an online business and still be able to live that laptop lifestyle, because you don't have to actually physically go to your job. So I just think it's really, really cool. And I'm so passionate about it for that reason. But at the same time, I also realize that it's not for everyone. So as easy as I say that anyone can do it, but also it's not for everyone, because you do have to be willing to put in the time and the effort and willing to learn all these new skills. And just some people just aren't willing to do that. So they might start with this business because it sounds enticing, but then after a few months, they're in the business and they realize, oh, it actually takes a lot more time than I thought, or I have to learn a lot more than I initially anticipated. And so then they kind of fall out. So you kind of just have to really determine whether, it's right for you and do your own research.
That's a great point that you made at the end. You know, the ability to continue to learn. That's probably the biggest. If you love learning, if you love reading, and also a step forward, like if you love to actually implement new things, I think private label will be a great business model for you. You don't necessarily have to be the smartest or the brightest or have the most money, but if you're willing to learn and be resourceful, you can be very, very successful. So definitely some great tips. Now, Tatiana, I'm looking in the comments and all I see is Tatiana rocks. I don't know why people are saying that. We've got the Lucid Dreamer in the comments saying Tatiana is a beast. So that is true. She's crushing it right now. We got Texas in the house right now. We've got California. We've got Florida. We've got Kentucky, Central Indiana, Arizona, another person from Indiana, Pennsylvania, Texas again. So we've got people from all over the country watching right now. I've got a couple more questions for you, and then we'll probably just dive into the comments because we're getting a lot of questions from the folks, and I really want to spend time engaging with you guys. So how much money would you say that you need for this business? I know that's kind of a tough question to ask because it's going to depend on so many factors, but I guess what's the minimum amount you would think someone would need to comfortably, or if you were to do it over again, how much money would you want in your bank account, if that's a good way of saying it?
Yeah, well, that's probably the most common question I get asked And like you said, it depends on so many variables. It depends on the product you're sourcing. It depends on where you're sourcing it and all of these different things. But, you know, back when I started, I did start with $300. That's it. And I never took out any loans. I just put in the $300, got inventory, made a small profit, reinvested, made a profit, reinvested, and grew my business to where it's at today. However, that was 4 years ago, and a lot has changed on Amazon since then. Doesn't mean that it's not still a great opportunity. It's still a huge opportunity, but it does require more of an investment. And so when I really look at the figures now and I look at the different tools that you need, I look at how much it costs to source inventory. I look at, you know, all the marketing that you have to do when you first launch your product, including product giveaways. I would say that at a minimum, you want to have $1,500 to invest initially. And that's not including a course. I always recommend a course to learn how to do this, because I know from my experience, if I didn't have a course, I would have for sure given up, because there are so many components to this business that you really might not think about if you've never had an online business before. So aside from paying for a course, just for the inventory, your shipping, $1,500. But of course, the more money that you can invest, the more comfortable you'll be. And of course, again, the more money that you can invest, the faster you can grow the business.
Awesome. Great. Thanks for sharing, Tatiana. There's quite a few people asking about product research and choosing a product. I think that's a great segue into maybe some tools and supplies that you use. So what do you currently use to maybe conduct product research, or any other softwares that you benefit from in your business?
Yeah, so that's actually what's really cool about now. It's just 4 years ago, there weren't many softwares out there. And now there are so many different things. It actually gets a little bit confusing with how many options there are out there. My personal favorites that I use when it comes to product research, Jungle Scout. It's great. They've got the Chrome extension. They've got the web app. They are awesome. Also, Helium 10, it's comparable to Jungle Scout. They're more, you know, keyword research, but they also have a similar Chrome extension. So basically, these two tools will help you to find that first product to sell on Amazon. Because if you don't have the tools, you can do the product research on your own, but the tools are going to help basically accelerate that process. The tools are going to help you get the stats and basically do the math for you. So it really makes things a lot faster, more enjoyable, because trust me, a lot of people hate the product research phase because it can take a long time. You really have to kind of go niche with things. So those two for sure. And then I guess when it comes to the other aspects of the business, designers, hiring designers for labeling and packaging, I like to use Fiverr.com. Super affordable. You know, you can get things done for, you could get, you know, a product packaging for $50. Or you can go to Upwork.com and hire freelancers from there. So I hire freelancers from all over the world through Upwork, and it's really affordable. And then there's also something called 99designs.com, which is, for example, if you were to create, you know, a product and you want special packaging, you would basically submit that this is what you want, this is your concept, and then you'd have hundreds of designers give you proofs, and then you would basically narrow that down and then select what product packaging you like best, and you'd hire that designer. And then I guess, you know, finally, tools that I use now to facilitate my business, because I do have a team now. I use Slack for communicating with my team. I use Asana for project management tools. I use, what else do I use? I'm trying to look at my desktop, what's open right now. You know, Evernote for note taking and sharing, Dropbox for sharing. Yeah, it's pretty basic stuff. Yeah, it's pretty basic.
Yeah, so I actually met Tatiana and her fiance, Stefan, with Project Life Mastery. They were holding an event, which I attended, which was amazing. And what was cool was while you weren't speaking, you were on your laptop, and I was asking you, what are you doing? And you were building out, you were working with your team and building out standard operating procedures, and we were laughing about that. And that's cool. Do you mind talking a little bit about your experience, maybe hiring and working with people in relation to an Amazon business?
Yeah. So one thing I really learned after I hired people was that I wish I had done it earlier. because I always thought that it was really expensive to hire people. And so I was doing everything myself. I was the designer, I was the Photoshop expert, I was the marketer, I was, everything for the business. And that's understandable. When you're first starting a business, you wear a bunch of hats because, finances are tight, and it's good to learn the basics of all aspects of your business. But what I was soon to realize is that, I'm not a master at Photoshop. I'm not great at photo editing. Let me outsource that to someone who is. And I discovered the word outsourcing, and it changed my life. And I was really excited about this because at that time I was spending 4 hours a day doing customer support. So just answering emails for 4 hours. And I thought, you know what, this is something that can be taught. I could teach a freelancer how to answer emails, and it's simple. And then I can spend more time doing high leverage tasks, things that maybe I can't outsource, and things that will really grow my business instead of just maintaining my business. And so that's what I did. And I couldn't afford to hire people locally, unfortunately. So I went to Upwork.com, and that's where I discovered that, hey, I can hire people from other parts of the world, pay them a good income, but for me, what I'm paying them per hour is significantly less than what I would be paying someone per hour right here. And so I love to hire people from the Philippines. Actually, most of my team lives in the Philippines, and they're amazing, and they have great English, amazing customer support, and we all just really connect on such a great level. And so I made my first hire, which was the customer support person. And so once she was starting to answer emails, I started to say, wow, I have 4 hours extra time. And with using that 4 hours to actually implement and grow my business, that's what made the biggest difference. If I didn't outsource, I probably would not have grown the business to where it's at right now. And so then I had her, and then I got another customer support person, and then a social media person, and then, more and more and more. And it's just really the greatest thing because, again, we all have, one role in our business, which, we were just talking about the book Clockwork, and it's called the Queen Bee role, which is basically the main role of your business. If this was taken away, then perhaps the business would not work so well, or it wouldn't grow. And for my personal business, it's different for everyone. That Queen Bee rule was content creation. And so creating YouTube videos, just as you do, was so valuable for my business. But what I found was that I was spending so much time doing the backside of the business that I wasn't spending time in the creative zone. And oftentimes, if you're creating content, as I'm sure you know, it takes a level of creativity. You can't just, go from being on the computer all day doing all this stuff to now all of a sudden in the zone able to create amazing content. You do need to have that space. And so that was super important to make sure that everything else is taken care of. I can focus on the Queen Bee, and that's how you really scale the business.
You beat me to the punch. I was just going to ask you, what's your Queen Bee role? And you, and you covered it. So yeah, that's a great resource for anyone out there who feels like they're stuck in their business and they're doing a lot of things that aren't really contributing to that Queen Bee role. Check out the book Clockwork. Definitely grateful that you guys recommended that to me. Now, with private label, there's so many different things that you have to focus on, from product research to branding to customer service to all different types of things. Inspections, shipping it to Amazon, listing, graphics, all that stuff. What advice, Tatiana, would you give to somebody who is just feeling overwhelmed? Maybe they just mind mapped out a plan and they've got like 30 things to do, and they're just overwhelmed, and they're having a hard time taking action. I don't know if you've ever been in that situation where you just have so many things to do that you decide to do nothing.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, I would love to know what your thoughts are on a strategy for how to like eat an elephant. I know it's one bite at a time, but it's like, do you have a mindset or a psychology for that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, again, it really comes back to kind of what my experience is taking a course really helped me. I'm not here to promote any course. You guys do your own research. But for me, that really helped because it basically told me what to do and when to do it. And I didn't do anything else. I just followed the course and I did the homework. And every week I would have a new task to do. And if it wasn't for that, I'm not sure that I would have really understood when to do what. And I probably wouldn't have, I really don't think I would have been where I am today, because it would have been very, very confusing. And there is a lot. And when you have this huge list of, okay, oh, this, it's hard to really grasp when you need to do these things. But aside from that, I think it really comes down to understanding prioritization. What are the high leverage tasks? What are lower leverage? What is the priority in your business? And so you have to really figure out, okay, what is really going to grow the business versus what is just maintaining the business. And again, if you can outsource anything, do it. Because when we think that we're the best person, I am the best copywriter, I am the best video editor, I am the best marketer, that's not true. That's me being in my ego. And there's always someone who can probably do a better job than me. And so if I can outsource that task, then that's one thing off my plate. And then my list is smaller, and then it becomes a lot more manageable.
Awesome. Cool. So what is your, do you have any plans for the next 2 or 3 years when it comes to Lux Curves, right? That's your brand?
Yeah.
What are your plans? I mean, where do you see it? What's your vision for the next couple of years? I mean, are you just trying to keep it passive and do your thing? Are you looking to really build and grow or sell out of it? Any thoughts?
Yeah, well, for the next couple of years, I do want it to grow. I do want the brand. I believe that with the work that we're doing, we can be the go-to brand for my niche, which is the waist trainers, because of what we're doing on social media, the social proof that we have. I believe that when people search for a waist trainer online, they will come across Lux Curves at some point. And based on the community that we have, they are going to learn about it and understand the product quality and understand all these different aspects that we have to our business. So it's really going to help build the business. But aside from that, in the next 2 to 3 years, I really want the business to be automated. So I don't want to be working as much in the business. I want basically all aspects to be automated. There are processes for everything. Just as we were talking about SOPs, there are standard operating procedures for every aspect of my business that is repetitive. And so that means that when I have a new hire, it becomes very easy to train them, and everyone knows what to do and when to do it. And so in the next few years, I hope to be able to kind of take a step back, and all I do is content creation. I don't have to do any other aspect of the business.
Awesome. Well, we're all rooting for you. And, you got to promise me in 2 years from now, 3 years from now, we got to get you back on again, and we'll look back and reflect upon all of your growth, because it's been really cool to just see your journey so far. But yeah, we've got some people asking some questions in the comment feed. So I want to definitely engage with you all. If anyone's watching right now, and we've got 95 people watching, but if anyone's watching and you've got a question or something that's eating away at you, just, feel free to drop a comment right now and we'll answer your questions. Oh, we've got Martin from Thrift Store Gold in the house. Martin says, I'm at the thrift store right now watching this video. That's awesome. Beatrice Hooper says, great information. Get a good course, find your niche, and get after it. Definitely some awesome advice. We've got somebody complimenting your eyelashes.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, cool. So, okay, Shoe Loop USA is asking most successful product. So I'm guessing your most successful product, is it the waist trainer?
Yeah, I mean, I don't sell any other products right now, just the waist trainers. And so we don't just have one waist trainer, we have a bunch. So I don't even know how many SKUs we have, but we have different kinds that serve different purposes. And then with each type of waist trainer, we have different colors and different sizes.
Do you have any tips for people who, because I notice a lot of people, what they're doing with private label is they're copying and pasting. So what they're doing is they're finding products that are selling well through Jungle Scout or Viral Launch, whatever. And then they're just going to the manufacturer and just producing the same thing. They're battling it out with keywords and PPC. What are your thoughts on that? Is there a better approach? Is there a different approach? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so people did that a lot more back when I started, where it's just you find a product, you basically copy it, and then you put it on Amazon, and then that's it. but that doesn't necessarily work nowadays. I feel that you do have to find a way to differentiate yourself. Doing the product research is key, but then also, once you decide on a product, buy your competitors, buy, 5, 6, 7 different products who are your competitors, and have them look at them at home and figure out ways that the products could be improved or enhanced. Oftentimes you can just go on Amazon and read the reviews. You look at the 1-star reviews and you see all the negative things about the product, and you say, okay, maybe this is something that I can address with my manufacturer, and maybe we can improve the product. Even if it's a slight improvement, even if it's a 1% improvement, then at least the product you're sourcing and you're going to put on Amazon is going to be different and unique. So I do suggest finding ways to differentiate yourself, whether that's with the product itself, whether that's with a bonus that you're adding, whether that's with your product packaging, or whether that's with your marketing. You can also do that with your marketing if you're building a brand, adding value to people in different ways. So standing out is key. And, you can start, if you're low on cash, you can start with just private labeling the product and not really customizing anything, because when you do start to customize, it starts to become more expensive. But then with time, you can see the reviews you're getting on Amazon and get feedback from customers. And then you can approach the manufacturer and say, okay, let's change this with this new order. And then the third order, you change something different. And then the fourth order, you improve it slightly more. And so with time, the product enhances and becomes more unique, where now it's not just a private label product, it's a product that is unique to your brand.
Great advice right there. Great advice, Tatiana. We've got a question from Ecom Rush asking, Tatiana, what has been your greatest obstacle?
Yeah, I've been through many challenges with this business. I've lost thousands and thousands of dollars when I didn't have thousands and thousands of dollars. I've had many emotional breakdowns, but I think the biggest challenge was actually not the technical aspects of the business. It was more just when I was starting the business, having kind of pushback from my family and them not really understanding what I'm doing. And it's understandable to me that they wouldn't understand, because this is such a unique thing, and not many people are, having that online business and living from it and making a living from it. So, my family, they were concerned for me. They were telling me not to do this. And it was a constant battle on a daily basis. So I just kind of had to get out of that environment. And then I kind of had to learn to just kind of shut up for a little while and not share everything that I'm doing with them, and then just do it in silence. And then my success will speak for itself. And so I think that was the biggest challenge. And that's what really made me want to give up at many points in time, because I felt like, is this arguing really worth it? Maybe I should just go back to what I was doing before, where it's safe and where there is a lot of certainty. I know I'm getting a paycheck every week, versus with this business when I'm just starting out, I don't know. So, but I'm glad I continued.
Well, I'm glad you shared that story, because I talk to so many people who deal with the same thing. So if you're watching this and you're feeling like a little discouraged because your friends or your family, they're telling you not to do it, take the safe route, they're not trying to take you down. It's just, that's what they know, and they're trying to protect you in their own way. So, you've got to choose who you hang out with carefully. If you want to, be a successful Amazon seller, find a course, find mentors, find people who are having success, watch videos like this, go to Tatiana's YouTube channel right now, subscribe and watch all of her videos, because that's going to be a positive influence in your life. So, couple more questions. We got a question from Donovan Roberts asking, Tatiana, how do you find manufacturers to make your own products?
Super easy. You can do it all online. I think some people have this misconception that you actually have to travel to visit your manufacturer. But again, with the computer, you can do it all online. It depends if you're sourcing locally or if you're sourcing overseas, and your decision on that is going to depend on the product that you choose. If you're going to be sourcing a product that's ingestible or topical, I highly recommend that you source in your local country. However, if it's not a product like that, often it's most common to source overseas for those profit margins. Really depends on you. And so if you are looking to do locally, a simple Google search is easy. You just type in the product name, and then you would type in next to that manufacturer, supplier, or any other names like that, and you have a whole list of people, and then you interview them. If you're sourcing overseas, a great resource is Alibaba.com. That's primarily for China, but it's for Asian suppliers. It's really an amazing resource because you can really narrow down the manufacturers by different checkboxes like gold supplier, assessed supplier, verified supplier, and it's really organized. And they also have something called Alibaba Trade Assurance, which means that if you do place an order with a supplier overseas and you place it through the Alibaba platform, they will give you insurance, which is really comforting. There's also something called Global Sources, there's AliExpress, and there's a number of different online platforms where you can find those suppliers. But my preferred choice for if you're sourcing in Asia is Alibaba.com.
Great. Awesome. Awesome information right there. We have a question from Pinarello Ryder asking, is it against Amazon's terms of service to include product inserts with your contact information on it and who designed your product inserts? So do you personally put inserts? Do you try to drive them to like an opt-in to obviously get them on your email list to somehow get the ownership of that customer? Because really, when you're just selling on Amazon, Amazon owns the customer. You can't really follow up too well. Maybe you can. Maybe you know some things I don't. I would love to know your opinion on that.
No, you're right. When you are selling on the Amazon platform, there is a little bit of uncertainty because those are Amazon's customers. They're not your customers, and you don't get access to their contact information. You have to message them through the Amazon platform, and you don't get like their email address where you can add that to your email list and then contact them privately. So if you do want to kind of have that communication, you are allowed to have inserts on your packaging. On the Amazon platform, if you're on Amazon.com, your listing, your images, none of that can contain any information that would take the customer off of Amazon. So Amazon's goal is to keep the customers on the Amazon.com or whatever marketplace on their platform. And so if you have something that says, check out my website, Amazon's not going to like that. If they see that on your listing, they will suspend you. If you have something that says, anything that will take them away from Amazon, they don't like that. However, on your product packaging, that is a different case. The thing is, Amazon does update their policies all the time, so you really do have to look into it because it can change day by day. But I believe that at the moment that if you do have something on your product packaging, that is fine. For example, many people will offer a warranty for their products. So they'll say, get a 60-day or a 1-year warranty for this product. Visit, blah.com/warranty. That person goes to the website, and in order to sign up for the warranty, they have to input their name and email address. So now the person who owns the product will add them to their email list, and that's great for them. And then the customer gets the warranty, and that's totally fine. Personally, for me, I just have, get a free ebook. So for me, I give them a workout guide. I created a workout guide that is really something that goes along well with my product. And so if they want to claim the free guide, then they have to go to the sales, to the lead page basically, and input their information, and they get the free download, and I get their contact information.
Excellent. Great tips. Great tips. We have another question from James Moe. James says, I've read horror stories about private labeling. How important are trademarks when you reach a certain level of sales and exposure? So I'm sure you've gotten to this point where you're exposed, people know about your product. Is it important to take some legal protection with your product?
Yeah, so trademarks are great. Oftentimes people feel like as soon as they start their Amazon business and they decide on their brand name, they need to trademark it, but that's really not the case because when you're first starting, nobody really knows who you are. It's not until you start to build that brand and you become more popular where someone might take your trademark or, use it. So trademarks are great, when you can and when you have the money to do so, go for it. It's actually not too expensive. You can trademark a brand name yourself. You don't need a lawyer. I've done all my trademarks myself. It's like $250 to do, and it's good. It can protect you. But then, in terms of actually, trademarks are great on Amazon because once you have a trademark, you can apply for something called Amazon Brand Registry. I don't know, I did this because that's exactly what it's called. And you go there. And so basically what that means is that when you have a trademark, you are now the owner of this brand. In that way, you don't get hijacked, because I'm sure you know about hijacking.
Oh, yeah.
And so if you don't have a brand registry, it's very easy for someone to now sell your brand on Amazon and hijack your listing, versus if you have brand registry, it's not a problem.
Awesome. Awesome. So many amazing gold nuggets during this show. I want to ask you guys a favor. If you're watching right now, and if you're watching the replay, do us a big favor and hit the like button right now. It helps to get these videos out to more people. And if you know somebody out there who is looking to build an additional income stream, or if they always want to start a business, send this video over to them, because, there's so many people having success, and Tatiana's a fine example of it. And also be sure to subscribe to Tatiana as well. If you go down to the first link in the description, follow Tatiana on YouTube here. Just go ahead, click over there and subscribe to her channel. She's always putting out new videos. And I think she said even after this video, she might be creating some content for the future. So definitely check her out. Final words of wisdom, Tatiana, for the people who are watching. I know there's so many eBay sellers and thrifters and RA, OA folks who are watching now, and they're looking to build a business that allows them to have more freedom, to be able to have more passive income, to be able to travel and not have to hire a kid from the neighborhood to come in and ship all of his stuff. A more scalable business model. What advice would you give that person who they know about this, they want to do it, but they're just like, I don't know, they're on the fence?
Yeah. Well, again, decide if this is right for you. Do the research. And then if you feel like it's a right fit, you got to go for it. You're either in or you're out, but there's no in between, because with this business, you have to take action. If you don't take action, someone else will, and they're going to surpass you. And so I find that you just need to kind of commit to something and go for it. If you commit, follow through and continue to work hard, and don't get into analysis paralysis. I think this is the biggest thing when I look at the people that I've done coaching for, the ones who are, 6 months into the business and still not really getting anywhere. It's because they fall into analysis paralysis. They have different options and they're trying to be a perfectionist. And I find that when you're trying to be a perfectionist, it's just going to delay a lot of things. When it takes you 1 week to write a blog post, when it takes you, 10 different opinions to decide on your brand name, like it just makes things take so much longer. And speed is important and quality is important, but also the faster, the more you can get done, the better, of course. And so, just be okay with it. And when it comes to content creation, again, if you can leverage content creation, leverage social media, that's a huge win, because as getting the message out there on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook is a really powerful tool for an online business these days. And when you can build a brand where you can then develop a relationship with your customers, that's what's going to build those raving fans. And it's so important.
Awesome. Awesome. So there we go. Final words of wisdom. We got a bunch of people saying that we subscribe. Someone also said, not only did I subscribe, but I hit the bell notification as well. That's even better than a subscribe nowadays. So be sure to go subscribe, because we're also going live on your channel soon. I think maybe right after this video. So if you go over to her channel, Lux Biz, subscribe, be on the lookout for a live video. She's going to be interviewing me about retail arbitrage. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Anything else you'd like to say?
I say thank you for having me on the channel. It's been fun, and I wish all your viewers the best of luck with their journeys, whether that's retail arbitrage, Amazon FBA. If you're building an online business, I wish you the best and the most success, because it's such a great opportunity, and I just feel amazing that we all have access to this. So go for it, make it happen, and wish you all the best.
All right. Thanks so much, Tatiana, for coming on. And we'll all see you over on her channel if you guys are watching in a couple of minutes. And can't wait to see you guys. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.